Welcome all. One of the things that questions I keep coming across fairly often in forums such as Reddit, people asking how to record bird song, and the responses that are often given tend to be one saying that either you can't really do it very well, or you need very specialist equipment like parabolic microphones and things like that, or very expensive gear and whatnot. And I've occasionally put in a response saying you don't really need all that complex set of gear, giving examples of what I've recorded in the bush, not of birdsong, but of vocals and so forth from reasonable distances using my Zoom F6 and a Rode VideoMic NTG in that sort of configuration as you see there. But I don't think people really taken much note of that. So while I was camping last week, I decided to do some birdsong recording whilst out in the bush. I could have done that at home because the birds that were out there are the same ones that are here at home. But we also get a lot of external noise sometimes from vehicles and so forth, which disrupts the quality of the audio itself. So while out there, I decided to do some recording, and mainly these were in the evenings when they started to become fairly noisy before dusk. And I could have done that in the mornings too at sunrise, but I didn't want to get up about 5 o'clock in the morning just to do that. So I took the easy way out. Now, it's interesting how this thing picks up various sounds, and I'll give you an example now about one particular audio that picked up and see if you can guess what it is, and then I'll give the answer in case you don't. Okay, for those who have got a clear ear and a good ear, you would assume that that was a dog drinking water, and it was this hound dog of mine drinking out of a water bowl next to our camper van. And the interesting thing is that what I was doing was I had this set up about 15 metres away, pointed at 90 degrees from where the actual water bowl was, and it was still picking up the audio very, very clearly. I didn't enhance the audio at all. All I did was normalise the waveform, and picked up the water sloping quite clearly. So this is not as directional as some of the microphones, shotgun mics are, so it's clearly picking up stuff from the sides as well, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. And for general audio sort of capture and that, it concentrates more to the front, but it also picks up from the sides, and I don't have a problem with that. So after that, and I might say I didn't realise this was picking it up at the time because I'd forgotten to bring along my IEMs, and I couldn't listen to any of the audio that was being recorded or had been recorded. So everything that I was doing was pretty much by guesswork with various adjustments to the microphone and the recorder. So I only found out exactly how well or badly things went once I got home. But after I did that particular one, what I did was I did more recordings, probably about half a dozen different situations in different locations in the campsite, and capturing the bird sounds at dusk. So I'll play that particular one now, and then you can hear how it goes, and I'll talk a little bit more about it once it's over. Okay, as you can hear, there's a plethora of birdsong being recorded in that particular campsite that we were camped at. And if you're wearing headphones and that, you can see even the subtleties of the audio coming out. There were kookaburras singing there, which were probably over 100 metres away from the campsite. Then there were very loud bird songs or sounds that came up every so often, and those birds were probably about 15 or so metres away, and usually I think behind the recorder most of the time. Yet because of the shrill noise that they made, it was being picked up quite clearly. And there was a whole bunch of other subtle noises that came out, frogs in the background, and even the sound of running water. So quite surprised at what it picks up. and how clear everything is. And with those particular audio recordings, I didn't do any major manipulation with them. All I did was normalise them once again to minus 16 LUFS, and I added a little bit of noise reduction because there was just this general hum that went, consistent hum that went through all of the audio. Now, I don't know whether that was coming from the microphone gain that I was setting it at or what, but that is what it is. But overall, once that was done, I think the audio quality of the birdsong was quite good. Now, I'll also say I overlaid 3 different audio tracks to give you all the different bird sounds as they're coming through. I could have stretched it out to one long single track, but that would have been just too boring to listen to. So I just combined them, and you could hear the sounds of 3 different sorts of bird song all coming together in the bush itself. And that's not really being disingenuous about it, because quite often that is exactly what we were hearing, was just when all the birds suddenly came into song, they're all sort of combined. So I wasn't really cheating by putting 3 together, but I'm telling you that's what I did, because I want to be upfront with this. But I think if you're wanting to do some bird song recording, you don't really need a hugely complex setup. Audio recorder, I think, is a must, and having a reasonably good shotgun style microphone, I think, is also quite worthwhile. The more directional the microphone might be, if you're going for the really long shotgun ones, then you're going to be actually capturing less of this, more of the central part rather than the sidelines. But it depends on what you're actually after and the sort of environment that you're in. If there's really just the one bird squawking away, then I don't think a microphone like the VideoMic NTG will do any worse than a very high quality, high cost microphone. So that's just something that I've discovered, and I just put this out here there now so that I can actually validate what I say when I'm expressing views on how to record birdsong. In fact, you could apply this to anything. It doesn't have to be birdsong. It could be car noises. It could be people speaking in the bush area or somewhere like that. You can record sounds from quite a distance away and still get very good clarity, as long as there's not other disruptive sounds surrounding what you're trying to record itself. And I think that's the important thing to remember. So on that note, I'll call it cheers.